Hey, what's up, guys? How we all doing? Coming at you with the pre-match pod ahead of our 3:15 kickoff tomorrow against Newcastle United. Kind of feeling the same feelings I felt between what was it, the Tottenham and West Ham game. Slight concern about having less time to rest. Again, I'll say this: we have no excuse. I mean, I was talking to Greg before, and to think how early we've been kicked out of, the other two cup competitions with the League Cup and and the FA Cup. I feel like we really, although, it is a shorter rest time, only 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, there's no excuse. We have more rest than any other, we get more rest than Newcastle, with them being in UCL. So, yeah, but it does make me nervous. I'll start off with my prediction right away just to kind of get that out of the way. I'm going to say a 1-0 win. I think it's going to be I think both teams are going to set up very defensively, especially Newcastle. And they're a team, look, they're on their home turf. St. James's Park is never an easy place to go. I mean, you could argue those fans are top two best fans. Hell, some would even say best fans in the Premier League. So definitely not going to be an easy place to go at all. I'm expecting a really scrappy game, but I do feel like our quality will outdo theirs. And I see us pulling away a 1-0, but I think it's going to be a lot like the Everton game. I think it's going to be very frustrating. And yeah, I see definitely a tough matchup between us and Newcastle. Look, going into the lineups, I mean, right now, Martinez, again, Michael Carrick said in a presser recently, they're not too concerned about it, nothing to worry about, but this is Leacher we're talking about, and as much as I love the guy, me and Greg are kind of in the same camp. We're like, it hurts to say this because, I mean, the guy clearly loves our club so much, and he's so good when he's in, but that's the key word, when he is in, and as crazy as the shout might sound, I'm kind of one injury away with Leach from saying, you know what, freaking love the dude, but as good as he is, just he's made a paper, sell him. And I just have this weird hunch. I hope to God I'm wrong, but I just have this weird hunch this isn't a quick injury. Also, too, moving from Leach, can we talk about DeLitt? I feel like we've heard for the past 2 months, oh yeah, next week, it's soon. Why do I have a feeling that he is just going to be out for the rest of the season? Why does it feel that way? Why does it feel like he's going to be out for the rest of the season? I really hope not, because he was so good August to November. Look, back injuries can be really difficult, and and the thing that concerns me is it kind of sounds like he played through that back injury, so now I'm like, oh crap, did that make it worse? So I really hope that we see him before the end of the year, but I am just having this strange suspicion that we're not going to. Sounds like Maguire has a slight illness, but I think he might be a slight doubt for the Newcastle game. Hopefully not. Obviously Shaw, again, Carrick with Shaw's injury against Crystal Palace, sorry. Again, Shaw with his past track record, you have to admit he's been better this season. For Shaw to get from August to March without any injuries is honestly kind of a miracle, if we're being quite honest, given the track record. So again, hopefully what Carrick is saying is true. Hopefully it's nothing too concerning with him, and hopefully we see him back. Again, I don't expect him to see him for for Newcastle tomorrow, but hopefully we see him back for the game after that. But yeah, I mean, looking at the injury list for both teams, we've got Dorgu for United, who's expected. I think the timeline they're saying possibly mid to late March, which I'd be so happy with. Obviously Martinez with a slight knock, Maguire potentially out with an illness, Mount, who just kind of lives in the medical tent now. I mean, look, Mason Mount seems like a great guy, and it's a shame, man, because some of those games earlier in the season, I thought he looked great, and but then again, part of me is like, do we sell Mount? But then I'm like, our squad is so damn thin. If we don't get the players in that we need this summer, then, which I'm hopeful we will with Champions League football, but God forbid we don't, I'd say keep him, because he could be a great rotation player. But then again, what good is a rotation player if he's never available? So Mount, still injured. Have I missed anybody? I'm sure I have. I'm racking my brain right now. But yeah, okay, so Mount, Shaw, Dorgu, Martinez, DeLitt, those are the big ones. But then you look at Newcastle. Woltemada is out with an illness. You got Livramento out, a few other players, and then honestly, guys, the one player being out that honestly gives me a lot of hope for us is Bruno Guimaraes. That is a guy that, first off, Bruno Guimaraes is a player that I would love to see as a Casemiro replacement. I mean, he's a guy that can play in the 6 and 8 role, box-to-box midfielder, and again, being able to play in both 6 and 8 just makes him so versatile. I've liked Guimaraes for years now, and as bummed as I am that Cass is leaving, he is somebody that I could absolutely see fulfilling that role. We have enough 8s, I think personally, but I think somebody who can kind of switch into that 6 role could be very beneficial for us. But him being out, I think, really benefits us in the middle of the park. So that does give me some hope for the game. And again, too, even if Ultimata had been in, I mean, for whatever reason, Eddie Howe has made the decision, in my opinion, the idiotic decision to kind of drop him back deeper the last few weeks and months. Obviously, Ultimata had a crazy good start to the year, but he's kind of petered off. But again, having their top goal scorer out and their, arguably their best player in Guimaraes out gives me a lot more hope for the game. But yeah, I feel like we're kind of on a level playing field in regards to like how many injuries we have. But yeah, I mean, looking at our lineup, I'm assuming obviously Laman's in goal, Delo, Euro, Maguire, if, this, so-called illness, not so-called, but if this, whatever the illness is or the issue with Maguire, again, I saw illness online. I don't know if that's accurate, but if Maguire isn't going to be available for tomorrow, God forbid, I guess Euro and Heaven in the middle of the park. Again, I really like Aiden Heaven. Euro's made me a bit nervous the last few games. Again, I love Lenny Euro, and I think, the main thing with Euro is he's a great defender. The only thing he has to work on is his physicality, but that's going to come with age. I mean, we got to remember how young this guy is. By the time he's 24, 25, I have no doubt that he's going to be a freaking unit. And like, me and Greg were talking, and like I mentioned in, one of the last 2 pods, he's clearly putting on some size. So, you do see moments where you feel like he gets bullied a bit too much on the ball. But again, his physicality will grow. I absolutely love that kid, and I think he's going to do amazing things with us. So Euro Maguire, potentially Euro Heaven, I guess, if Maguire's unavailable. Mazraoui on the left, with Shaw being out, I'm assuming, and I love Mazraoui. I think he's such an underrated player. Really like him going forward. And then in the middle of the park, Cass and Mainu, and then I'm hoping to see Cunha, Sesko, and Bumo as the front 3 again, and then we've got Bruno. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna say a 1-0 win for United. I'm gonna say, who's gonna score? I'm going to say a Mainu goal. We've not seen, I know Kabi's not known for, that's not really what he's known for. I know he didn't score any goals last season. He, had 3 in his debut. But yeah, I'm going to say a goal from Kabi. Probably a bit of a wild shout, but he's not scored in a while, so it would nice to see him get one on the board. So anyways, guys, have a great one, and I will catch you for the post-match pod in a day or 2. Bye-bye.
How you doing? Good? Manchester United go to St. James's Park to play Newcastle United. Oh, man. All right. I think there's a lot to unpack here, but I'm going to try to make it tight. So I'm going to go through match prediction, score prediction, lineup prediction. Actually, no, I'm not going to go through my predicted lineup. I'm going to go what I think, or sorry, not my desired lineup. I'm going to go with what I predict Carrick will go with. And I also just want to talk about what happened today. This is the day before the Newcastle match, and I thought it would be fun to have a little chat about Liverpool, just at their expense, because I'm sure you guys saw Wolves, 20th place, one of the worst Prem teams of all time, Wolves, beat them 2-1 today. I was on the phone with Matt, end of the day, got off of work, and he's like, did you see the score? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot Liverpool were playing. What is it, like 10-0? He goes, Wolves won. Wolves won. And I was like, there's no shot, and I'm screaming. Oh my gosh. I love it. But first, let's talk about the United-Newcastle match. I would like to say I'm expecting a little bit of a change-up, but I'm not. I would like to have something to chat about that's a little bit different, but honestly, when you're doing well, when a team's gelling, when there's not a lot of hiccup, I feel like you just have to stick with what works. So I'm hoping we play the football where we are in charge of the ball when we have the ball, and we're not afraid to, if we lose it in midfield, just drop back comfortably, play our game, and let Bruno kind of run about the pitch and do his thing, and then have his supporting actors following him around, with Lamens, staying between the posts also, and just being a stonewall like he is. But, so to take it through the lineup, I think we're going to go with Lamens, obviously, in goal. Deer, sorry, you're going to have to sit down. You're not going to have a start. Then I think Shaw picked up a knock, if I believe I'm correct. So that does kind of throw a wrench in things. Obviously, Yoro is going to be center back alongside Maguire. And then on the right, he'll probably go with Delo or Nusra Mazraoui. I think there's a chance he'll throw Delo on the left and then Mazraoui on the right. Just because Delo does play that wing-back position fairly well. He doesn't really defend as much as he should, but he definitely plays the wing-back position well, and I think we're going to have to definitely spread the field and have depth on both sides of the pitch against this Newcastle side. So I would say Delo, Yoro, Maguire, Mazraoui. That's a locked-in back four. Then obviously midfield, I would pray, does not change. I would say Manu, Casemiro, and then Bruno. And I think they're probably going to utilize a little bit of a double pivot type situation in this, just so that they could have either Casemiro or Manu playing a little bit more back, just to help and support with, Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes in that midfield area. Just because Newcastle, I feel like they're not necessarily going to just throw up long balls. With Voltemade, now they maybe do play that kind of football. I haven't watched them in a while, but I do think they're going to want to have more of that controlling midfield role. So I think I would like to see one of our middies kind of pulling back a little bit more and letting just one other supporter coming up with Bruno. But and then the attacking three, I think Šeško proved his point. I think that if you're going to do something, if you're going to go into a situation where you're not going to start Šeško and you're going to go back to the Cunha, Mbumo, and Ahmad, I think that puts kind of a damper on Šeško's performance, and it puts a damper on his mentality. And there's two reasons I think that. I think one, he finally went out and he put out a performance. He put up a goal. He was running hard when he was on the pitch. He was fighting for balls. He was a threat on set pieces. And I just think rewarding him by benching him doesn't really make much sense. And Ahmad, I don't think that Ahmad's going to take it as, he's being tossed to the side. He's still going to get minutes. And I think, let's say we have the lead. It's 2-1. It's not my prediction, by the way. But let's say we have the lead. It's 2-1. And either Mbumo or Cunha is showing a little bit of lack in pace, maybe 70th or 60th minute. I think Carrick's going to look at that instantly and say, let's throw on Ahmad and just have him run like crazy. But I would say I do think he's going to keep that front three, because I think throwing in Ahmad in there, I just think that's really going to throw off Šeško. And obviously right now, not that we're only going off in moments of brilliance with him. Bruno's been amazing. Cunha's had his moments, and Mbumo's been great. We've had supporting goals from, likes of Maguire, Casemiro, Delo, but I think you have to play with the man that's hot, and I think they need to do that with that front starting three. Now for my prediction of the match, oh gosh. I don't want to say every team's bogey team, because I feel like I'm saying that a lot recently, in the likes of a Brighton or a Palace, or even when I think about Spurs. I think that my memory may just be tainted because of the Europa League final, but away to Newcastle. I know we've had some ugly results there, like a 4-1 loss. And Newcastle have put up good performances at St. James's, especially against, I think, City. They went 4-0 last year or 2 years ago. Regardless, I think this year's different. I think if we can contain Voltemade in the back and let Maguire just kind of mark his man, and not have to advance the ball much, kind of play like a stopper or sweeper position, I think I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to United. I think we may get a little bit of penalty luck again. No, I do think it was a pen for the Palace game, to be fair, but I could see Bruno getting a brace from a pen. I could see maybe Bruno Guimaraes or the likes of Voltemade breaking through and getting a goal on the set piece or something. And I could see, I think I have to stay hot with Šeško. I think I see 2 goals out of Šeško. I think he keeps him on for the 90 if the physios approved it, and I think he just lets him play his game and fully let him flourish. I don't even think you mess him up. I think you keep him on, maybe take off Mbuma or Cunha, throw on Ahmad, and then after he scored his second, then you pull off Šeško at like the 85th or something and put in Xerxes. But yeah, I think that's my prediction. I'm going to lock in 3-1 and goal from Bruno and 2 from Šeško. I feel pretty good about that. But yeah, that's my prediction. I think it shouldn't be as challenging as people are making it out to be, but there is that chance. An away match, and United, they love throwing surprises, but we have Carrick at the wheel, so it's a different team. But now to talk about the fun part, Liverpool. Oh my gosh, I love it. I absolutely love to see it. For me, it's more so it's not even that they lost, right? Because we've seen lower league teams, or not lower league, but lower teams in the league putting up results against bigger clubs. And it's just, for me, being a Liverpool fan or a supporter, I think if a United fan looks at a City supporter, we kind of think like, yeah, like, F that dude. Like, he's just like, new fan. He probably started watching in like 2018, 19, like whatever. Or like even like a Chelsea fan when I was growing up, it was like, yeah, like they just picked them because of, Didier Drogba or whatever. But Liverpool, I think I look at the fans and I do have some sense of respect just because of the history there. And even the club and, the stuff with Jota. And I think they are a good club through and through. And it's like a respect, even though I hate them the most of any club in the world, but it's like at least some respect there. But just seeing the transfers they brought in, Kirkez, Ekatike, who else? Isak, and then Floppy and Verts. He's finally coming into his own a little bit, I have to admit. Same with Isak. But I just can't believe you spend that amount of money for a finished product for a player that's proven himself, at least for Isak's sake, in the Prem, proven himself time and time again. And then you look at Verts. I mean, I wouldn't even say that he's proven himself internationally and at a club level as well. And the Bundesliga is different. It's a different style of football, but still, I mean, the amount of money to break the transfer window or break the transfer record twice in one window. You just came off, and this is your defending title, your title defending campaign. Seriously, and you're losing to Wolves. I don't want to say I mourn for them, but it's just hilarious. I just love to point and laugh. It's just amazing to see, and I'm sure every United fan today is just like, hell yeah, I love it. Good for Wolves. I'm a Wolves fan for 90 minutes. That's all I'll say. But yeah, love seeing opposition lose. It's absolutely amazing. So, get your comments in, give a score prediction, and yeah, we're trying to build a little community here. So subscribe would totally help out. Have a good one. Hopefully I'm going to be talking to you guys after a United win over Newcastle. Thanks.